to GameChanger 00100 channel, please hit the like button, subscribe button, and notification bell on your way in. Please wait while the host prepare the show.
Welcome to the GameChanger 00100 show. I'm your host, GameChanger, and I am back. Sorry about the long pause, hiatus, whatever you want to call it, but I had things to do, and it would have been longer if this topic hadn't come up, if I hadn't been summoned by this whole just shut up thing. So, apparently, the new cool thing to do, the new thing that's hip, that's cool, is to not do anything, is to just shut up. That's the cool thing to do because you want to be that cool kid. You want to be that cool kid that just sits with the leather jacket and sunglasses and say whatever when the world is happening around this person. See, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to sell this image of stoicism. They're trying to that's a positive. Like, oh no, you must remain stoic in the eyes of this. Listen, that is a bunch of bull. But I'm gonna ask everybody this, and I want y'all to really think about this. What has being silent done for the generations before us? I repeat, what has being silent done for the to the benefit of the men in the generations before us? You see, when all these laws were changing and all of these feminist movements were out and Oprah was out and all these women were being vocal and loud and changing the way society thought about women to where they started making these ridiculous laws to the disfavor of men, what were men doing? They were being silent. Oh yeah, we so silent, we so cool. We so silent, we so cool. No fault divorce, we so silent, we so cool. Alimony for life, we so silent, we so cool. Welfare system that pays women to take care of her own kids, we so silent, we so cool. Oprah bashing black men for, I don't know, 30, 40 years, we so silent, we so cool. There was nobody speaking up for the men, not a person. And if so, they weren't very loud because we don't know their name. Like, we know Bell Hooks, we know Oprah, we know Alice Walker, we know all of the women, who spoke up for feminism to put them in this particular position. Where were the men? They so silent, they so cool. Where were the men? I mean, we were vocal about civil rights and, we see the reactions to that. But where were the men who were speaking against the gynocracy as it was being built? They so silent, they so cool. They so stoic. Now, in their defense, they didn't have an opportunity to speak. There were gatekeepers of mainstream media, and those gatekeepers locked the gates on black men who were against the gynocracy. Somebody said in the chat room, actually, they were being silent. Exactly. There were gatekeepers that were keeping these men silent. Absolutely. Absolutely. The internet, though it has gatekeepers, it don't have the same gatekeepers. You can still say what you want. You can still get somewhat into the gate before they Andrew Tate you, but that's a whole nother thing. You can still step into the gate. You can still have a voice. I would not be here, hiding behind a chess piece nonetheless, but I would not be here and capable of doing this had it not been for this opportunity. And now that we have this opportunity, what are the people saying? They're saying, I want you to take this opportunity and remain silent. We so silent, we so cool. Because when you're silent, that is how you make the change that you are looking for. Because changes just happen in silence, right? I mean, think about how they silently changed that thing that time. Like, wait, what? You know how the people said and did nothing, but things just changed? Like you didn't rally the people to make a change. In other words, you people just did nothing, and then all of a sudden something happened. That was to the disfavor of a large portion of people who are vocal and to the favor of those who are silent. See, that is what the just shut up people will have you believe. Also, there's this belief that you should just shut up in order to garner success, garner personal socioeconomic status, which makes no sense whatsoever. You don't have to stop talking about something or stop listening to something in order to do something else. That makes no sense. That's the whole walking and chewing gum thing. That makes no sense whatsoever. Like, yes, in order to be this uber successful Black man, you must first shut up about the gynocracy. How does that work? How does that work? And listen, I understand like getting rid of certain things that are a distraction, especially to assess. I get that, like video games, but that could be said about anything. Like a person, you could say that about, oh yeah, you need to stop watching football if you're ever going to. No, there are people, a large number of people who actually do things recreationally besides just clearly focusing on a particular task at hand. And then there's different levels of success. By this logic, I want y'all to picture this for a second. I want you to close your eyes and picture this after you hit that like button, because let me just check the likes. Yeah, y'all need to hit that like button. Hit it hard. And then I'm going to go into the scenario. Hold on. All right, there we go. Yeah. So I want y'all to picture this scenario, right? I want y'all to picture some white guys. And I'm not talking about your Cletus or Jethro type white guys. I'm talking about, the Mormon looking, Ivy League looking, white guys, right? The kind that hold their vowels when they talk and wobble their head when they point at something. Like, hey there, guy. You seem to be one of us. Would you like to join us for a round of golf? Like those type. I want you to picture a couple of white guys like that, right? And then I want you to picture them at the golf course. And then they're golfing, and in the background of the golfing, there are people talking talk. They're talking about what those guys talk about when they do that thing. Which senator to bribe, which neighborhood to gentrify, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they're talking like that, right? In the background of them golfing. They're golfing and they're talking while they golf. This is an opportunity for them to network, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is an excuse for them to get together and do the networking that they want to do while playing golf, right? And then somebody comes along And this person comes out of nowhere and says, y'all need to stop playing golf and start talking about business. And they look at him like, what the hell? Yeah, you need to stop playing golf and you need to start talking about business. Excuse me? Yeah, that's why we're behind the Asians, because y'all over here playing golf when we need to be talking about business. We need to be talking about how to uplift our socioeconomics. Like, okay, all right, so get the fuck off my court, and I never want to see, hear, or talk to you again. That is what these people sound like. That is how they sound. Like, you can talk about once you are gathered in a collective for any reason at all. Once that has happened, you can do pretty much anything. That is up to you. But to actually challenge the source of the gathering is ridiculous. You either go or you don't. You either play golf or you don't. You either go to football events or basketball events. You either do or you don't. But people just have this overwhelming desire to silence Black men. Now, in real life, outside of the internet, in real life, people want to silence other people for two basic reasons. Reason number one, they need to gather their thoughts. They need to gather their thoughts, and they can't hear because of the distractions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they want to silence the masses so they can gather their thoughts. That's reason number one. Reason number two is because they have something to say. And they want their voice to be heard over all others. They feel that what they have to say is more important, and the only way others can hear it, not because they're interested in what they have to say, because if somebody begins to say something interesting, people will stop the conversation that they have and begin to listen to this more interesting topic. No, they want everybody to shut up so that they may say whatever it is on their mind. And that's what it is. Because truth be told, if it was a matter of gathering your thoughts, you could just leave. You could just leave and go to a quiet place to gather your thoughts. No, it's a shut up tactic in order to allow them to speak. What they have to say, I don't know. And I don't care. And I want them to say it. But don't try to diminish or belittle what others have to say because you feel what you have to say is more important. Just say it. All right, here we go. Let's take a look. Apparently, Spiritual Logic Talk has something to say. Let's take a look. Let's see. The Gynocracy was built by men who put sexual access to uncultured women before their own self-accountability and personal development. No argument. No argument. Which is why we have these conversations. I definitely agree. I believe that you should put a lot of things before sexual access to uncultured women. All right, let's see. Men talking about women productivity once they have gotten themselves together. First is the only logical outcome to avoid being compromised to want dysfunctional women. Okay. Once again, agree. So yeah, we can agree to agree with that. Thank you very much. In none of what you said, and I'm not picking on you, spiritual, in none of what you said does silencing black men help. And none of what you said does silencing black men help. How? Okay, here's the question that I pose to all the just shut up people, and they're going to take time and think of an answer, any answer. And it's going to be equally senseless as all the answers to this that I've heard before. How does silencing help? How does silencing help not only with this particular problem? How would it help push any agenda forward that benefits black men? How does silencing black men on this particular topic help? How does stifling spreading awareness help? I'm curious. And I know that there's like, you're grifting or something, blah, 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 blah. How does not talking about it help? Grifting what? I haven't got a super chat on since I started. How does not talking about it help? This is the reason that brothers die. They go to they remain silent when talking to the doctor. You know, their heartbeats sometimes sound like a car engine that can't start. And then they don't say crap when the doctor asks, is there anything wrong? Anything I should know about? Niggas' toenails be purple and they don't say shit. We so silent, we so cool. Yeah, you're gonna be cool in the grave. But that's what it is. It's all this bravado and chest beating talking about oh yeah, we could speak it into existence. Like we need to stop talking about it and start doing it. Talking is doing it. That is how you spread information. You don't just go into any situation half-cocked. You talk about it, you strategize, but first you have to galvanize the people. And that's to anything. Caesar, before invading or before starting his a war with his own people, he had to talk to the men. He had to communicate and see, okay, will the people be on my side? Will the citizens of Rome be on my side if I do this? That is what you have to do. You want to know who didn't do that? Brutus. That's who didn't do that. Brutus, for those of you who don't know, Brutus is he was something like a son. Brutus was the son of one of Caesar's lovers. By all accounts, it could quite possibly be his son. Brutus was also from the house of Julia, descendant of Venus, and he is, let's just say, prominent. He's prominent in Roman history. You know, his family was one of the founders of the Roman Republic, who Rome before was a monarchy, and he was integral, and his family rather was integral in overthrowing that monarchy. And I guess he felt it was his duty to overthrow the monarchy that Caesar was attempting to establish. From his point of view, I'm sure. So what did he do? He didn't talk about it. He didn't gauge to see if he can get the regular day-to-day people behind him. He's just like, oh, well, if the problem is Caesar, then the solution is to kill Caesar. I'm going to delete Caesar. Me and my band of nobles are going to delete Caesar. and the people will love me because I just deleted Caesar. I'm not going to ask the people. I'm not going to spread my views on why I feel that this way of governing, why republic is better than the rulership of a single man. I'm not going to try to spread republic virtues to the general populace before I do this act. I'm just going to do it. And he did. Knives in the Senate House. He did it. And then, he gave this speech like, yes, I did it, and now we're a republic again. And they was like, nigga, we like Caesar. He actually found out what we needed, what we the people wanted before he acted. So he got booed off stage. And they rushed the stage. He was about to get deleted. He made his way out, and then he eventually got deleted by the hands of Mark Antony. Oh. Perhaps you should have a clear understanding of how society is viewing certain situations and manipulate it to your favor before you act, or else you will be Brutus of the Julii, or you will be Will Smith. Don't just act. Act with the consensus of the people that you are acting on behalf. Will Smith. He's another example of what happens when you do stuff without understanding the population, without first swaying the audience, without first swaying the people behind you. He's like, I'm just going to go up and defend my wife and everybody will love me because I'm Will Smith and he's just Charlie Murphy. Rest in peace, Charlie Murphy. But we're talking slaps here. We're talking slaps here. I'm Rick James, you Charlie Murphy. We're talking slaps here. So yeah. So he just went up and he's like, I'm gonna Charlie Murphy this man. What he gonna do? I'm Will Smith. What's the worst that can happen? Everybody loves me. I'm Will Smith. I don't even have to consider or understand the temperature of the general audience. I'm going to do what I want because I'm Will Smith. And he was so confused that he gave his speech like he's the hero. He's the Serena Williams, what's dude? I didn't even watch that crappy movie. The one that he won the Oscar for. But what's that, King James? Like, or some crap, King something. King Williams. He's like, I'm gonna do that. I'm not going to sit around and have circular conversations with the general populace. I'm just going to act. And he did. King Richard, thank you. And he did. And he gave his speech, his King Richard speech, like he just gave like the slap of dang, what's that? The slap heard all across the world. No, that's a shot. My bad. But he's just like, oh, yes, I'm the man. And then the next morning he woke up and found out that the general population was against him. Exactly. Check the flow. Or at least sway the flow to your liking. Am I trying to sway you? Yes. Yes. I am trying to sway each and every single one of you listening, not to my benefit. Once again, not to my benefit. I am trying to sway y'all to your own collective best interests. Now, many of you here are like, I don't need to be swayed. All right, bet. I believe you. I believe you when you say you don't need to be swayed. You can either stay and be entertained or, continue to live your life. That's fine too. But don't pretend like others don't need to be swayed. Don't pretend like y'all don't know a nigga that needs to be swayed right now. Like y'all don't like the temperature is right. Like the temperature is right. Like if we put into a vote right now for the general population, I don't know, mandatory DNA testing, that it will not be a large portion of black men who votes against it. If we were to put a petition out there right now, or a vote right now that just ends all of the gynocracy, don't pretend like it won't be a large portion of black men who will vote against it. If Barack Obama in 2010 was to make a My Brother's Keepers initiative, let's not pretend like it wasn't a large portion of black men who put a stop to that, who petitioned against that, because it didn't include their queens. It's not even swaying at this point. It's unswaying. These dudes have already been swayed. They've been swayed by their mama. They've been swayed by some bitch on the street. They've been swayed by some YouTube chick. They all been swayed. They've been swayed by the bitch that friend zoned them for the last 10 years. AM1. The so-called gynocracy ends as soon as dudes stop playing along with the dumb shit from women. Ha ha. Oh no, it's just one ha, but it's a long A. Like it's more of a ha. I agree. A lot of guys don't even realize that they are participating in dumb shit with women. They don't realize that they are playing along with dumb shit from women. They don't even see that women are doing dumb shit. That is why we have these discussions. That is why silence don't really help with that situation. People accept the reality that they are in as a baseline. That's how it's always been since the beginning of history. They accept the reality as it is. And if the reality is you just accept and embrace the dumb shit around you, then that is what they are going to continue to do. And that is what the gynocracy has swayed society into doing. And that is what we are doing now. We are here to try to unsway a population of swayed niggas. Black man, there are a bunch of swayed niggas. I'm not saying niggas wearing suede. I'm talking about they are a bunch of swayed niggas. Walking around calling bitches and bonnets queens. You're swayed. Walking around calling fat bitches thick. You're swayed. You're swayed to believe that this is the only and correct way. You swayed to believe that you're deadbeats and you're the reason why these women on welfare getting free shit. Not that they want free shit. You swayed to believe that, that we made them this way. That their action is so many swayings. You ever talk to a dude? You ever talk to a dude that say some dumb crap like, these bitches outnumber us 7-1? Where? Where do they outnumber you 7-1? When was the last time you went to a club or something and it was 7 females to 1 dude? When was the last time you went anywhere and it was 7 females to 1 dude? I'm not talking about like the woman's bathroom or what's that called? I don't know, the women's bath or the tampon aisle. The tampon aisle in the grocery store. Maybe it's 7 to 1 there. No, that's how they were swayed. These women are gaslighting these dudes constantly, and we supposed to just say, like, remain silent while this foolishness happens. Why they just making up statistics? Y'all all in jail. Look, bitch, shut the fuck up. Like, okay, you know, you had that one episode of ABC, where the single women at, talking about they're all in jail, or you know, they didn't graduate high school, or or what was it? They in jail, they didn't graduate high school, or it was another one. I don't know, or they dead or something like that. I don't know. Some crap, right? Some crap. And this is what happened. This is the type of stuff that passes when they don't give men the mic. They did not give men the mic. You know, the door was closed to men. But let the door open to men. Let them have one dude up there. Let them have one real man up there. You know, a man that's you know, let them bring lead attorney up there or something like that. You know, an attorney, you know, just like that one shit, or you know, Dennis Sperling or some shit like that. You know, because have them tell it. Dennis Sperling and lead attorney don't exist. Now, but here, I'm gonna bring it up. Hold on. Hold on. All right, here we go. So they like this, like this is a, and this was like in 2006. This is the sickness that spread and it went unchecked. It went unchecked. And we supposed to remain silent so it can continue to go unchecked. Shut your ass up. If you like silence so much, shut your ass up. Telling men to remain silent while you give these bitches the mic and they make up some foolishness. Look at this bitch. I can't find a man. Bitch. 90% of the men watching right now will put their dick in your mouth. Shut your ass up. You shot down 6 niggas before this show. Shut your ass up. And they weren't in jail or you know, didn't have a diploma or no crap like that. Shut your ass up. Stop pretending like you some high successful. Oh, and this is where they screw up the stats. I'm starting to wonder what's wrong with me that I don't give goopy women shit this much energy. You should wonder what's wrong with you that you give men this much energy. Just saying. But see, they want to be the only voice in the room. And they are those who advocate for them being the only voice in the room. Man. There's some people making dumb arguments. Okay. I mean, there exist people in the world that make dumb arguments. Why would you argue with someone making dumb arguments? Is the question. I don't, why would anybody do that? But we're going to get into an example of this because what sparked this conversation. Oh, shit. Somebody sent a super chat. Okay. All right. It says, you mean a unicorn club? Yeah, I heard of it. Okay. I don't, let me know what that's in reference to. Maybe I lost the context and everything. So let me know what that's in reference to. All right. So now I'm going to look this up and play something. I share info with men on how to not trip off goofy bitches so they can't get their heads in the game against real threats. Okay. So do we. No one is saying trip off of goofy bitches. You think that if I display a woman throwing pancakes in IHOP, overweight, belligerent, and stuff like that, that I'm telling men to trip on her? So against the real threats. There's several threats. Once again, you could play golf and talk business at the same time. Some of us can. All right. So let me continue. Let me bring up this video that I got in the chamber. Who said anything about a threat? Okay, this I'm not even going to have this conversation because I see where this is going and it's not going to be fruitful. All right, so let me bring up what I was going to a moment ago. Oh, here we go. All right. But okay, hold on. Let me see what this is about. But like I said, I figured out how to make a little money making fun of guys who stay focused on goofy bitches. Please carry on. Okay, enjoy it. All right. What was Marco saying? GC, I was talking about the club where there are 40 chicks to one. Oh, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like they are making up stats. And all with the whole problem is that, okay, here's what they're trying to do. And this is once again to have brothers confused and off base. They are attempting to make it appear as if there's just this overabundance of slim, successful Black women that are just looking for dicks to suck. And the ratio is 7-1 because, because 6 out of 7 Black men are dead or in jail. So they're trying to create that narrative, and you like, okay, bet the market is in my favor. But when you go out and the results aren't in your favor because you're not walking around with 7 successful bitches, you start to question yourself. And that's the mind game that they put out there. And if they're the only voice in the room, brothers would fall for that. All right. So I was on Chantelle's a little bit ago, right? Actually, tell me if y'all have trouble with latency on this. I've been working on that. All right. Appreciate the 5 a.m. one. Wait, is this today? No, that's not today. Okay, yeah, appreciate the 5 a.m. one. All right. So anyway. All right, let me the 217.50. All right. See, this is where this type of thinking leads, this just shut up thinking. Because there's never really an explanation of how it makes anything better by just shutting up. Hold on.
Well, all I'm saying is that it's not about black men.
No, $1,000 in the hole will be $25,000 whole. Hit her low. Hey, that's right.
But this is what
my God!
Sometimes men, we can get triggered and we can start trauma bonding and getting online and sharing our experiences. Men, if we are leaders, right, and this is the patriarchy, right, we need to wield the power that we have.
Okay. This is where conversations start to get goofy. You're only in a free society. You only are a leader of those who freely choose to follow you. I'm going to repeat that. In a free society, you only are a leader to those who freely choose to follow you. You are not responsible or accountable for those who don't choose to follow you. If you say get down and they don't get down and they get shot, that is on them. That is on them. It is not on you. See, when men like this talk about leadership, they're talking about accountability. And once again, as I said in a previous video, we as black men are hyper accountable. We're hyper accountable.
Understand that we gave women the power to behave this way. And
you see this? And I like how he says we as he's referring to himself or me or something like that. But yeah.
Never used to be this way. There used to be a time when a man could divorce a woman and leave her high and dry, and she didn't have a penny, right? And back then, women were on their best behavior because they know, hey, if my husband leaves me, I have nothing, right? But we gave them the things, the weapons that they are now using.
Weaponization, man.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I agree with this brother wholeheartedly. We gave them the weapon. Why did we give them the weapon? Because they were able to spread their truth. They were able to spread their belief, spread their propaganda to the masses. That is the power of propaganda. That is why that guy in the 40s in Germany with the mustache, that's why he used propaganda. Propaganda gets people to work against their own best interests. We use it in almost every war. We have used it. You swaying the masses. That's how they were able to get it. They swayed the men. They was all on some, Popeye, come save me. If you don't give me welfare, then my kids will starve. And this evil black man, put his raw penis in my vagina over and over and over again. And then he left. And now I'm stuck with all of these kids. And Popeye, come save me. Come save me. And what did the men do while they were spreading this propaganda? Silent. They were silent. They were silent. We so silent, we so cool. We so silent, we so cool. What did the men say? Did the men say anything? No, they just let it happen. But this guy here, he's advocating for more silence, even though silence is a part of the reason that we are in this predicament.
To terrorize us with, right? So we need to use the same power that we gave them these things with and take it back. You know what I'm saying? When you go to other countries, why do you think the passport bros go to these other countries?
Why is he saying that like it's a new bright idea? We gave the women this power. We need to take it back. Yeah. Yeah, that's, yeah. You know, I wonder, did England have guys like this? Like right before the American Revolution. I wonder if England had that, right? Wonder if England had guys like that. Think about what he's saying. We gave them this power. We need to take it back. So England gave America most of what it had. It gave the 13 colonies most everything it had, if not everything it had. They're like, yeah, you know, we gave this to them. We need to take it back. Like, okay, give it a try. And you see how that worked out. This is what you call oversimplification. This is what people do to make it seem like they know what they're talking about.
What do these other countries have in common? They didn't give these women that power. So their women are still in their feminine. Their women are still being competitive. Their women are still respecting.
Outside of politician, no woman even remotely have power over me. Well, that's good. That's good. That means that from the moment you were born, your father had full custody. And you had no female teachers. Good for you. It's not the case for every man, but good for you.
Man, because those countries did not give up.
And you were born in a time and place before inter-uteral child deletion existed.
Their power, right? So, we gave up our power, right?
So
now our women are reckless because of it. So what we need to do is stop trauma bonding and crying and complaining and trying to negotiate with terrorists. And
I agree with him with the negotiation part. And I think BGS and Obsidian are the ones who talk about, you know, bring them back to the table, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, when they are the two least qualified people to negotiate anything ever. The negotiation needs to be had on an individual case-by-case basis, not in a collective thing, because all men want different things and are negotiating for different things. So, yeah, miss me with, and there's no woman to qualify. There's no qualified woman to negotiate on behalf of women, just like there's no qualified men to negotiate on behalf of men. So miss me with that whole bring them back to the table and negotiate, especially a nigga like Obsidian. You know, like, look at what your negotiation skills led you with. Like, come on now.
We need to take that power back. All of these things happen through covenant.
I had a question.
Wait, hold on. I have a question for LA Bar. What would that look like, men taking their power back?
Well, let me say this.
Court ordered child support happened because of a law that was changed. We can easily change that. Happened during my lifetime. We can change that law back to make child support voluntary. There's no reason why the court should be in family affairs, right? Secondly, women should not be getting benefits for having children, right? Especially if those benefits are in perpetuity and not for a designated amount of time.
Hey, Ellie, I got something to say on that. Like,
I want to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, so go ahead, man. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, my question was: you said that we men gave women the power to act like this. How exactly do we give them that power? You kind of elaborated on it a little bit, but elaborate some more. I'm trying to understand how do we give women the power to act like this?
Because everything that they have, right, they got through a law that was changed, right? These laws that gave women alimony in perpetuity, right?
And how did they change the law? How did they change the law? Oh, they convinced millions upon millions of people that the law needed to be changed. And how did they do that? Through discussions, through media, etc., etc., etc. They swayed the population. Just like the men of the Manosphere are swaying the population.
For X amount of time. These are laws and covenants that were changed in order to benefit women. Now, they got us with the victimhood. They were like, oh, my husband ran off with the secretary and now I'm living in a halfway house, right? And we're like, damn, that's mad. That's messed up. You shouldn't be doing that to somebody, right? We should make it so that men have to pay women, blah, 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 right? So everything that they have that they use against us, they got through covenant and law. It never used to be that way, right? In the 50s, a man could literally leave his woman high and dry and she ain't got nothing and she got to figure it out, right? Yeah. And that made that woman compete for that man, even though she was still married. She still had to be fit, feminine, right, and friendly because she knew that, hey, my husband could leave me at any moment and take all the money and resources with him, right? Now, some men did.
None of this is explaining how shutting up will help. Just saying. Like he mentioned trauma bonding, circular arguments, and trauma bonding. That's all of this shit is just a way to try to diminish what's going on. He mentioned trauma bonding. He mentioned circular arguments, and we know that that's code word for the type of the just shut up niggas of this space. We know that. So, he mentions that, but he's not mentioning how this is hindering his grand plan. Oh, and by the way, his grand plan is to write a senator, but we'll get into that later.
Do that and abused it. And then they got us to feel sorry for them. So we changed the laws.
And
here's why I have the problem with that. You see, by changing the laws, it's like they're victimizing men of the current generation in order to punish men of a past generation. I don't get that.
Well, what happens is everything swings to the extremes, right? Obviously, when we didn't have those laws in place, men were taking advantage, right? Rightfully so, right? I can agree with those women in the 50s. There were some men who were running off on their wife for 20 years for the secretary and leaving her penniless, right?
They got an ass whooping, didn't they?
That was a thing that was happening, right? So we created these laws. Now we have the opposite of that, the extreme of that. You have women who are literally getting married to men with the plans of getting divorced from them and taking.
Exactly. That's the dupe. That's the dupe. What they did was they highlighted isolated incidents, just like we cover incidents of women behaving certain ways and bring those incidents to the forefront and waited for society to react. Like, oh, some woman in Alabama, she's penniless because her husband left her for a younger woman. What are we going to do? And they did that over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And then what happened? Like, oh, no, you can't leave these women penniless. you got to pay them alimony. So they took that shield and used it like a sword against men. Kudos to them. Every time we try to do something like that, people tell us to just shut up. Men tell us to just shut up. You're stupid. Margot says, I guess if you count invisible hoes, all of this is a matter of delusion and illusion. For the discussion, bro. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. It needed to be had, and I didn't want to have it before simply because when somebody is, okay, in this scenario I gave before, you're in a crowded situation, people are talking, everybody is talking, and somebody comes in and attempts to shut everybody up. That person is itching for attention. When I see somebody itching for attention, I'll do a video on that later. I tend to ignore them. Unless, of course, they're children. But when adults are itching for attention like that, I tend to ignore them. Just saying. But yeah, I appreciate the 5.
Their resources, i.e. Janet Jackson. So we know that now they're taking advantage of the system. So now we have to swing it back to the middle.
All right, Ellie, can I say something?
Go ahead.
So a couple of things. So we know men wear a little black in their on their wedding day, right? Because they're already preparing for their funeral, right? And the women preparing to escape the escape route, right? That's what they do on their wedding days, right? So speaking, I was talking to a friend last night actually, and she said she has a friend who actually, she has a daughter, and her daughter is she has a son, and her son got this girl pregnant, and this is second scarce. Well, this one is real. And the son, not trying to have the baby, he told her to delete the baby, whatever. But
all right. So spiritual logical says something. I'm gonna read it. It says the Fed will never be your friend, but men can avoid uncultured women and unwise situations first, then speak from working solutions based logic. Yeah, I agree. And your thing with the feds, and there are people who are for it and against it. There are people who are for unsecured debt, an opportunity to build on said unsecured debt. And then there are people who like, okay, our currency should be backed by our own productivity and not loan-based or not a debt-based economy. There's both sides of the discussion, but the discussion needs to be had. And while having it, I'm not going to be the jackass that walk up and say, y'all shouldn't be having this discussion. Y'all should be talking about cancer. No, the economic state of the country you live in and really the world is indebted to, this particular system needs to be had. It's a reasonable conversation that needs to be had. Yeah, that's all it is. See, I believe in giving people voices. I'm not out. I'm not one of these just shut up niggas to try to silence the room for my own voice. No. If you have something to spit it. I like to hear.
The girl was like, I'm gonna keep it, and then I'm gonna take you to child support because the son has a good job. He drives a nice car, everything. And she literally told him, I'm gonna keep the baby. Literally, I'm gonna keep the baby because you got money. Literally. And I was like, so me and my friend got into it. I was like, hey, so see, that's the BS I'm talking about. Think about it. What?
Wow.
So here's the reality. We know that this is going on. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Are we just going to sit around and trauma bond and tell all these?
And here you go, trauma bond. We know that these things are going on. The only reason that you know that it's going on is because of what you call trauma bonding. We know that these things are going on. No, you don't. If it wasn't for other people waking brothers up Nobody would know this crap. How do I know? Because these laws happened when men were silent. Nobody knew that this was going on. Nobody knew that they were attempting this coup. See, things like this. These are the type that graduate third grade, and I use the word graduate loosely. These are the type that go from third grade to fourth grade and then turn back and say, why is there still a third grade? We know this. We know our multiplication tables. Why is there still a third grade? Shouldn't you fire the teacher after each and every time I move to a different grade? You graduate high school and go to college. Why is there still a high school? I know this stuff. And this is an attempt to self-aggrandize. This is an attempt to just say, listen, I am wise now. Nigga, what? Let me show you what I mean. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Hold on. Here we go. How to screw in a light bulb. Okay. He has the light bulb there. And he is screwing the light bulb. This is how, okay, so yeah, that's how that worked. I want y'all to point out that he's doing it clockwise, not counterclockwise. And the light bulb is in. Is he going to test it? Yep, he tested. And yes, it was a successful light bulb screwing because he is in the bulb. Now, let's scroll down. It has 8,000 views. Oh. Okay, now this is satire, obviously. Where are the people saying, I know how to do this? You don't need this video. You're a grifter. You're a grifter. You're trying to profit off of these people, these poor, innocent people. Where are the people doing that? Why do the jackasses come to us with that crap? Like, why are we the ones where people come with some crap like, I already know that. We need to stop with these light bulb screwing videos and start talking about the Fed or some crap like that. Man, let the people be. Everybody else do. And YouTube is full of tutorial videos of stuff that people already know that get way more views than I do. All right, let's continue.
Let me say this. Let me say this in response though, because you know, because we have to understand that how the laws have come about, because essentially when you're talking about welfare, the welfare as well in terms of child support, originally that was based on women who had children who were married and their husbands died.
Exactly.
Right? So then that was given to supplement women who were married with children. So eventually the government, got the bright idea to take the burden off of the government and put it on men, right? So it wasn't a situational issue where these laws came about. These laws happened arbitrarily because the government didn't want to carry the burden anymore of the mistakes that women were making. So it wasn't a matter of men leaving and men doing wrong things. It was just a matter of the government not wanting to take responsibility. And that's essentially what the government is always going to try to cut corners and put it on the backs of taxpayers. And essentially that's what they did with men. And then you want to talk about divorces. I mean the divorces, the amount of money that men are paying through divorces and child support basically is supporting a large portion of the court system, right? Is being paid.
And there we go. And yes, that is a true thing. That is an actual thing. Social Security Section 4D. Look it up. That is a real thing. The government do get their cut. And that cut is a lot. See, y'all know my age, roughly, more or less, which means that y'all know that I've seen the 90s. And not only did I see the 90s, I seen the 90s as a newly driving teenager. As a semi-grown teen with a driver's license and stuff like that. Learning to navigate the laws and the highways and byways and stuff, right? In this process, I got tickets. Lots of them. Right? And then when I went to the courts, because of the tickets, they did something. They reduced the tickets. Now, I know some of you young boys, this is a new concept. But yes, tickets got reduced. Back in the day, you didn't have to pay the whole damn thing. If you got a $250 ticket, the judge will look and say, yeah, okay, but you did take the day off work to come to court. Nice tie. We're going to take it down to like 90 to 110 bucks. But if you do it again, you're paying the whole $250. See, that's how it was back then. This is the 90s. Now, fast forward to like after the towers fell, and then after certain economic collapses, housing markets, and there were recessions between that, between the towers and between the housing markets. So fast forward past that, right? And this is the world that you all grew up in, you younger dudes. You are paying the whole damn ticket. Why? Because the courts is like, this is my money. I need this money. I need your money. I am in your pocket. This is my money. I want the whole damn thing. I want all of it. See, that is the basis of corruption. And it's the same thing with the child support court. They are doing it for funding.
Pensions for judges and so on and so forth. A large portion of this money is going into the pockets lawyers and the judges.
Here's my question.
This it's in a lot of ways it's like a scam that's been put on us, and it has nothing to do with the actual on the ground between men and women.
Okay, do we have the power to change it? Yes or no?
Well, it is changing. I mean, no. and the thing is, and what we have to realize is that.
Do we have the power to change it? Yes or no? Well, that's yet to be seen. It really is. And it also depends on what do you mean by the term we? See, this is a just shut up argument. Like, oh, just stop talking about it and change it. This is that act before you rally the troops type deal. Do we have the power to change it? Absolutely. Once the people who are on board get on board. Once the people work as a collective, then we could change it. And how do you get the people to work as a collective? You sway the people to work as a collective. But this dude just like, yes, we have the power. Like, well, what the fuck?
Hold on, and so what we have to realize is it's changing partly through these conversations that are being had right now, because we're living in a different world where politics, right, and economics, in a lot of ways, is just based off of who has the major influence in terms of the ideology and in terms of passion, really. So it's less than just about trauma bonding and more about being able to have a more convincing argument, because even in Tennessee now there's a bill that just came about where where it became illegal for a woman to charge a man with a baby that wasn't his, right? So these things are changing especially based on the Black Manosphere having these conversations.
So this is what I want Black men to do, right, going forward, right? Instead of, because all of these arguments become circular arguments where we're just
oh my God. Notice how he says instead of. Why don't you just make your suggestion? And they can't do it in addition to whatever the fuck you're about to suggest. And let's listen to what he's about to suggest too. But instead of doing that thing you're doing, I want you to do this.
Like literally just talking in circles about what these women are doing, and we seem powerless and like we can't do anything about it.
How is it talking in circles? Yeah, it's repetitive, just like anything is repetitive. Baseball is repetitive. Like, here's what I want you to do. Instead of just swinging at the ball and stuff, I want you to just go to home plate. You're stupid. Jackie Jack, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go back 100 years to 1923, right? And then I want you to go to your senator, to your congressman, not congresswoman, they didn't have those. I want you to go to your congressman, and I want you to demand the stuff that women have now. I want you to demand that shit now. And you want to know what they're going to say? The term is called lobotomy. What is lobotomy? Lobotomy is a medical procedure that's not really based on any real science. Lobotomy is what they did to uppity bitches back in the day. It's when they cut a particular piece of your brain off. They wouldn't laugh you out of there. They would put you in a straitjacket while some 14-year-old intern comes in and grab your titties, and then they will cut a piece of your brain off and say, this bitch is crazy. And then when you're sitting there drooling from the missing brain piece, they'd be like, okay, now she's regular. That is what they did. And that is what happens when you do stuff without first getting society to back you. That's why the feminists were successful, because they first got the society to back you through what you call circular arguments. Okay. See, this is the whole grandstanding thing. This is the whole grandstanding thing where, there's a complicated problem, but a person likes to pretend like they have the easy answer to this complicated problem. Like they have the 10-minute solution to this.
Right. What I want all these conversations to be about is what can we do about it? Right. We know that these women are using these forces against us.
Then have the conversation your damn self. Then have the conversation your damn self. And I love it how people like this like to speak as if there's no solutions being discussed in this space. I just love that. As a result of this space, brothers are, exploring passports, really second guessing if they should be a stepfather, really critiquing and thinking logically if and before they step into a marriage situation. They are vetting their mates better, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There isn't a one catch-all solution for a population of 10 million black men. When you state the problem, the solution is obvious in some cases, but it's individual.
So what do we do about it? Because I can guarantee you, if tomorrow we got rid of the...
Every man does different things about it. Bernard fought for custody of his kids and won. And I think Mr. Fantastic did too. Everybody is doing different things about it. Brothers are voting different. Brothers are behaving different. Stating a problem and letting thousands of individuals come with solutions that is best for them is the thing to do. But see, this is where a person is trying to grandstand. They're trying to say, okay, well, I have a solution that they haven't talked about. Shut your ass up.
Mandatory child support system and made it a voluntary child support system, women will make better choices. I can guarantee you tomorrow, right, if we got rid of Section 8 and EBT and a lot of these things that these women are using to prop themselves up and to have a better life with 2 or 3 children, right, I can guarantee they'll start making better choices, right? So is
this nigga... First of all, not only is your solution not reasonably feasible and oversimplified, but the conclusion you come to just leaves the problem again. Like, say you do something and your car breaks down, right? And you fix how your car and why your car broke down. But you're still going to do the same. For example, and I'll use what he's talking about in this case. So say, you know, they get rid of Section 8, and then tomorrow, all the women who were on Section 8 is sucking your dick because you have a air-conditioned house in California. It's not going to change the fact that she's one government check away from leaving. Do you really want that chick? Because to be perfectly honest, that's a little twisted in my opinion. And that's why I've always given pushback to the whole winter is coming thing. Because it reeks of, I don't want the women to embrace their femininity and submissive side. I want them to be reforced into it. And yeah, in 100 years, they're going to reestablish feminism because we didn't really solve the thing that pushed them in this direction in the first place. But that's future problem. I'm getting my dick sucked by Section 8 bitches now.
As long as we allow them to use these things against us, they will do it, right? But until we wise up and realize that this is all a scam, this is all fraud, they're using these things because they want to remain autonomous, they don't want male leadership, they want to be out here dating Tom, Dick, and Harry and having all the fun in the world. That's why you...
And see, that's the problem. They don't want male leadership. And even if you put them in a situation where they're forced to embrace male leadership because they are economically bound to it, it's not going to change the fact that they don't want it. And it's not going to stop this problem from reoccurring in the future. You pull the weed from the root. But if you listen to such circular arguments, you would come to that conclusion.
See these 40-year-old women still out here TikToking and dating and all that other foolishness. They want this life. So we recognize that. We all acknowledge that. So now the question is, what are we going to do about it? We're going to start contacting our congressmen, our senators, and we're going to reach out to them, and we're going to...
Okay, we're going to start contacting our congressmen and senators. I hate it when people say that as if they are like pulling the strings of Joe Biden. Like, what did you do? I contacted him. And then what? And then the gynocracy dismantled because of my letter. Excuse me? Yeah, it was because of my letter. It's because of your letter what? Well, it's because of my letter I ended the gynocracy. You see, before they didn't know that paying a overabundance in child support was upsetting men. They didn't know that before. But now they know. And they care because I have a tie on. The fuck out of here. You write your congressman and your letter will fall under it. So it'll go into a stack of letters. In that stack is going to be like a bunch of rainbow letters, a bunch of I want to have a Confederate flag on my car without being harassed by the police. I think that XXX is not alcoholic. It's a jug. Flag burning should be illegal. I want you to fix the pothole on 79th and Broadway. And there's your letter in that. And then you're talking about contacting them with nobody backing you. Because the population is not galvanized. You're stupid. You see, shout out to the L Gibbons. Shout out to the rainbow people. Now, as everybody know, or if you're new here, subscribe. So, as everybody who's been here before know, I'm from Oakland. And as you all know, it's very close to San Francisco. Very close. 6 minutes away. So, they have been having their marches for as long as I can remember. Like, throughout my entire childhood, they have been doing that. We're here, we're queer, get used to it. Like, okay, you know, I mean, hey, I guess I am used to it. I know that you exist and that this is how you exist. That's perfectly fine. You know, we're here, we're queer, get used to it. They did it all the time. They brought awareness to their existence and they showed that they are unified. And they have been doing it since the 80s. Like I said, for as long as I can remember, they have been doing that since then. So then, like almost 40 years, or excuse me, like 30 years after the 80s, like somewhere in 2010, somebody said, hey, they're there, they're queer. I'm used to it. Why not make some laws that are in their favor? And then they got everything in their favor. And you want to know what didn't happen, at least as far as I know, what didn't happen when they were doing those marches? Some rainbow jackass coming up and saying, y'all need to be silent. You so silent, you so cool. Nobody came with that. Everybody just let them be, and now they got everything they want and more. Too much, in my opinion. But nobody said y'all need to just stop marching and just get behind this letter that I'm writing to the senator. Yeah. Write that to Reagan and tell me how that went for them. You're stupid.
I'm going to tell them to start repealing and rolling back some of these laws, right? And as soon as we do they'll behave.
Well, you know, but here's the sticking point though, is that women are also a part of these institutional structures as well. So the arguments have to be developed and they have to be made. So in a lot of ways, men never had the language, right, and never had the awareness, right, to really put these points together to even go in front of anyone. And again, when you're going in front of these lawmakers, a large portion of these lawmakers are female.
But see, here's the advantage.
And so hold on. You can make your point. So the point that I'm making is that these conversations cannot stop. What you're talking about is doing something in addition to these conversations, but saying that this is trauma bonding when in fact through the Black Manosphere.
Exactly. It's not trauma bonding. He's using terms like that to try to make it seem weak. No, it's galvanizing. That's like saying the founding fathers was trauma bonding about the price of tea. You're galvanizing. Men would risk it all, like, you know, if they are properly galvanized and motivated. You think that and I'm not talking about George Washington or Benedict Arnold or people like that. I'm talking about the guys on the front line with the rifles. What was they stake in it? You think that they were on the front lines with the rifles against the most sophisticated military in the world because they didn't want to pay extra for tea? No, you galvanize the masses.
A lot of people in the Black Manosphere and out of the Black Manosphere have gained the knowledge and understanding to really have these conversations and go in front of these same women, because these women are going to try to block you when you go in. It ain't just going to be in, hey, I just want this. There's going to be people actively arguing against the points that you're making. So these points have to be developed, and part of developing those points is having conversations like this.
Yeah, but these conversations can't keep going in perpetuity, right? So I agree with you, right? There are women who...
First of all, so what if it does? Second of all, it's a means to an end. Who said that to Oprah? Who said that to Oprah? This conversation cannot be going on into perpetuity. Who says that to Maury? This cannot go on into perpetuity. They just want you to shut up just cuz. Who says that to anybody? When you have a choice to not listen.
are going to block this type of stuff. But the women who are taking advantage of this stuff is only about 40% of them, right? The majority of Black women either don't have children or are married and cohabitating with a man, right? So the women who do have children and who are taking advantage of these programs are around 40%. So if we can get the 50 to 60% of women who aren't doing this nonsense, plus 100%, well, we can't get 100% of men because some of these men are beta males and panders. So let's say we get 80% of men. And we can get 80% of men on our side and 40 to 50% of women who aren't doing these things on our side, then we have enough people to change these laws.
What a complete jackass. If we could get 60% of women and 80% of men, then we'll have enough people to change the paradigm. That's what we're doing here. That's what we're doing here. What you call trauma bonding and circular arguments, we call informing the 80% of men and 60% of women that you're talking about, jackass. It's called spreading awareness. So on one hand, he's talking about, yes, I'm going to write this magic letter to my congressman. And then on the other hand, he's talking about, we got to get the people together to walk in lockstep with each other. That is what we're doing here. Once again, no justification, no statement of how shutting up is going to make things better. If anything, it's more of an argument of how and why we should continue to galvanize the masses. You jackasses.
Roll this shit back so that these Keishas ain't getting over on men with 4 or 5 kids and taking advantage of the system, right? And once we get those women back in position, they will acquiesce to what we want them to do because they know that we are their only lifeline. There's no alternative for them to go to.
Well, I would agree with.
It's that type of thinking that put us in this position. So to try to put women in a situation to where, you're just standing over them with a loaf of crusty bread and your dick out and say, you'll get this when you finish with that, is the reason that it's that thinking. Polarized is the reason that that they balked against the patriarchy. It's one of the many reasons. And is that what's in your fucking letter? Like, what politician in a country where the women have the right to vote is going to back some crap like that? I mean, it's obvious trying to force women into sexual subjugation. Basically, that's the best way to put it, Marco. The silent treatment. The silent treatment is, you know, I mean, if it is going to work, you have to first convince the men to be silent. Man. Fellas, I want you to try the silent treatment. I want you to try the silent treatment, right? I want you to go to an event and not be the handsomest brother at that event, right? And then I want you to look at the hottest chick there. And then I want you to not talk to her. And tell me how that works out for you. Tell me exactly what happens after that. Or what doesn't happen after that.
What you're saying, but as a matter of fact, here's an easy way of answering that question. Chantelle, are you still here? You still there, Chantelle? Oh, okay, she left. Okay.
I am. But we have to wrap up in 30 minutes, guys.
Okay. I wanted to ask you a quick question, Chantelle. Chantelle, now I know you have had your occasional spouts with the quote unquote sisterhood, since you know you have conversations with us men to this degree. Now, as you've had those subtles of experiences of just kind of brushing up with them, are those women very kind women? Are they very, you know, they're easy to have a conversation with? Are they, you know, they wouldn't be, you know, they'd be willing to have a good simple sit down with us men? You don't think, would they?
Absolutely not. No.
Yeah. So the reason why, you know, it's good to want to have the conversation with them, but we have to understand something here. Mainstream media allows women to have the level of power to be, I mean, everything from being the number one consumer to having the number one influence on media to having the number one influence in politics, mainly Democratic, from having the number one when it comes to economic buying power in terms of the facilitations of what's going to be used for investment capital. All of these things they can use as weapons. So unless we all decide to become men's rights advocates instead of just specifically manosphere, and we start attacking Capitol Hill and challenging to take their spots, whether it be in the Senate, whether it be in the House of Reps, unless we start taking those types of positions and we start literally stripping them of their power, those women are going to use those tools to us in perpetuity forever. I mean, we have to realize something, gentlemen. There's two sides to every coin. You think we get hatred from women? You should see how bad those women and sister in the that enlightens the other. Well, then if you're going to ask that question, then the very opposite question is, are we ready to die for a future that we potentially won't see? Because if we're willing to take that level of stance, that means we have to commit to it fully, the same way like an MLK, the same way like a Malcolm X. And the reason why I'm saying that we have to be to that extreme is because the very women that
MLK and Malcolm X didn't listen to a bunch of dumbass niggas that told them to be silent or that tried to silence them. And they literally tried to do that with both of them, particularly Malcolm X. And the reason why people attempt to do that, because they understand that there's power in words. And just like men have given up, you know, through these laws, all other powers, they now want to give up that particular power, the power of words. They want you to give up that particular power, the power of freedom of speech.
that are demanding leadership from us are going to be the very women that are going to use all of these powers that be to for one, they're gonna mark us as a hate group. Perfect example would be those Hebrew Israelites.
When I was in a political group, the women in the group, because of the way that I was speaking pro-black like that, they actually kicked me out of the group because I wasn't like this, agreeing with a lot of their black feminist
you got to realize
and positions. So what I'm saying is my life is no, hold on, let me finish. What I'm saying is my life is dedicated to this, right? And I paid a lot of hold on, mute your mic, bro. I paid a lot of penalties.
Can y'all hear us?
Right?
Hello?
Mute your mic.
I'm gonna ask you a question. Have you ever heard the term the silent majority?
Yes.
Do you know what that is in reference to?
The silent majority? Not offhand, no.
Okay, so that is in reference to the majority of white people who vote in the entrance of white supremacy and racist covenant, but they're silent about it, right? So in 2016, Trump won the general election, although he was losing in every poll imaginable, right? And that was because no white person who knew they were going to vote for Trump ever openly said they were going to vote for Trump.
Except for all of them that did. Except for all the white people that voted for Trump, that did vote for Trump. What in the hell is he talking about? Like, I remember when that happened. I remember 2016. There were Trump rallies and stuff like that. One brother got jumped because he just so happened to be Republican and he was at a Trump rally. It was a Trump rally. It was the MAGA hats. It was everything. It's the bumper stickers. It was everything. Trump was everything and everything was Trump. And they weren't silent about it. Jesus. Why does he like to paint this image of a bunch of stoic white guys that just says, okay, I'm just going to vote for Trump. I'm not going to attempt to convince others to do so. I'm not going to support him. I'm not going to pull. I'm not going to rally. I'm not going to advertise. I'm not going to boost him in any way. I'm just going to silently vote.
Right? They were quiet about it, right? So we as a Black brotherhood, we don't have to vocalize what we plan to do. We can be silent.
Did Trump not vocalize what he planned to do? Did Trump not vocalize what he planned to do, jackass? I'm going to build a wall. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But black man, you don't have to vocalize what you plan to do. Shut the fuck up.
About it, just like there's a reason why Ku Klux Klan.
Excuse me. Let me stop you right there for a second. Okay. The key word in silent majority is majority. You're talking about 6% of the population affecting the vote for the remaining 94% of the population and doing so silently. That's ridiculous. Okay. So if you want to affect any change, just like any other minority group, you have to galvanize the people. The LGBTQ people did it. Everybody do that. You galvanize the people first, just like they did with the civil rights era. Nobody went up to Martin Luther King and said, hey, circular arguments. That's ridiculous. He was galvanizing the people, showing the politician that this is his interest and concerns until they eventually capitulated to that.
See, a
That's
lot of
exactly why I use them as an example. That's exactly why I use them as an example. This is exactly why I was saying what I was saying originally, because
yeah.
you have to
Well, you can use
understand that.
anybody as this example. You can use anybody who's ever was in a minority group that affected change. You galvanize the people within that minority group. Or else you just have like some ridiculous thing like, oh no, you need to talk to your congressman. Like you just walk up to your congressman and he says, okay, I'm going to ignore the majority voters because I care about your concern, even though it's just you. You're speaking with one voice at that point. No, you have to have what you call these circular arguments or complaining to bring awareness to the problem. And that way you have more men working towards the solution.
And that's exactly where the issue is, because, gentlemen,
I'm starting to think that brothers collectively have very short attention spans. Modern men. Extraordinarily short attention span and very little patience. The whole circular argument is just really a fancy way of saying I'm tired of listening to this particular thing. I mean, it's kind of like going to church. It makes about as much sense as going to church saying, oh, we talking about God again? I can't believe it. We're talking about God. We've been reading from the same book for 2023 years. Y'all need to stop talking about that. Well, why are you here at church? Well, I'm here at church because I want everybody at church to be silent. And then once you are silent, the nigga try to sell you Amway or something like that. He's like, yeah, so now that we've done this, now that everybody's silent, I want to bring your attention to this Tupperware or some crap like that. Like, come on now, let's be real. You're trying to silence it so you can push your own agenda forth, or so you can bring people to your own church where you talk about the same damn thing. Yeah, but it's different because, I use the International Bible where they use the King James Bible. Shut your ass. Okay.
you have to be aware. We have to be aware. Power is never given; it's taken. We have to take it. And the number one, and unfortunately,
I disagree with that because power was given to the women. But I guess you could say that they took it just through not through violent means. Okay, I'll give them that.
and GameChanger, I'm sure you'll agree with me when I say this. Unfortunately, in order to take it, the number one enemy of us when we go through the process of taking it will be our very own women. They will hate us the most. They will demonize us the most. They will treat us like we are a hate group. We have to remember, Black women are the only women that openly consider themselves separate from Black men. When we talk on topics, they say Black women.
Exactly. He has a point there. They do consider themselves as a separate minority group, and they were galvanized to do so. They were galvanized by the bitches of feminist past. They were galvanized by like the Bell Hook bitches of the world, or whomever, the Whoopi Goldbergs, the Alice Walker type shit. They've been galvanized to do so, and nobody's tried to shut them up. Nobody said just shut up. Maybe they should have. Maybe we should have. But nope. Fathers who, you so silent, you so cool. They took their 4-year-old daughters to watch Color Purple. They bought the VHS and played the Color Purple in front of their kids every Mother's Day. And then when the kids became teenagers, they upgraded to DVD. Never saying, hey, this is some old bullshit. But they so silent, they so cool, they stoic.
Talk on topics, they say Black men. We hardly say Black people.
All right,
So we consider ourselves almost like we're two separate entities. So you have to understand that when we do these sorts of things, our number one enemy will be the very women that are demanding black male leadership. But then we have to realize they want black male leadership in the image in their own
But I got to
minds.
give you some pushback against that, because the reality is that just because those voices are the loudest don't mean that they are the most numerous, right?
Well, we got to be. Well, here's my counter question.
Hold on.
Numerous.
He's about to say something that truly contradicts everything he's talking about when he says just because those voices are the loudest, that doesn't mean they're the most numerous. Listen.
And
a lot of black women detest, just as much as men do, these women who are having all these kids and sitting up on
majority. That's what I'm saying.
And getting all this money from the government. They detest that just as much as men do. So we do have an alliance of women. The problem is, right, like our good sister Chantelle here, the problem is those women are afraid to go out and speak because they...
What the fuck is wrong with this nigga? So now the problem is silence. We have a bunch of women that feel a certain way, but the problem is that they're afraid to speak. And the problem with men is that they're speaking. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. It doesn't. Yeah, the problem is that we don't know that they exist because they're not speaking up. And men are discontent too, but they should stop speaking up. Circular arguments. It's stupid. I'm telling you, see, they never give like a sound justification of how silence will help. Ever. Just more babble. Hey, and if you want us to stop speaking, why don't you use your silence to get us to stop speaking? And tell me how that works.
Will get attacked and there's no one protecting them.
Right, and that's exactly why I'm saying it.
There is a group.
That's exactly why I'm saying it. Like everything you're saying makes perfect viable sense, right? But the reason why I'm saying it isn't because of the lack of numbers. The reason why I'm saying it is because of the fact that we are at a point in time, right, where women, especially those that are in alignment with us, such as me and yourself, right, we are at a point where these women are now so afraid because they understand the consequences of going against a group of women, such as the quote unquote sisterhood, to the point that they fear the consequence of going against them and being their enemy, then more so than they fear. More so than they feel empowered to join and to become a part of us, and feeling like that they can feel safe enough and value our protection that they're willing to do it. In other words, they fear a monster that they believe is bigger than us, and they don't think that monster is solely the women. They believe
they're worried about the more vocal groups.
They
I mean, they see that the men aren't backing them because the men are silent. Really, in the black community, the only voice that was in the room was a bunch of renegade bitches. And a bunch of men stood around like, we so silent, we so cool. And what's his solution to that problem? More silence. Now, he wants to talk about Trump. Okay. So you had like the presidency, right? The president of these United States was a bona fide pussy grabber. He grabs him by the pussy. And you are the guy that with the letter to your senator talking about, he's going to, you got to get these guys to make change. Okay. What laws did Trump change to the favor of men? Did he change the child support laws? Did he change the alimony laws?
Did he make paternity a requirement? Did he even build that wall that he was talking about? Oh, I thought that this political approach of yours, this silent majority thing, I thought that it was supposed to, just bring forth an error to where there's no Section 8 and they're sucking your dick. I thought that that after Trump, every man would be grabbing pussy. Did things get more woke or less? And isn't he arrested now? Just like Andrew Tate? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. He's that slave. He's that slave. He's that slave that says stuff like, man, y'all need to stop complaining about slavery. Like, really? What you gonna do? Shit, I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna whoop Master's ass. Like, pardon me? Yeah, I'm gonna go up to Master and I'm gonna say, hey, why don't you pick your own fucking cotton, nigga? And then he gonna say, oh yeah, well, yeah, okay, I could pick it myself, sir. Yeah, you damn right. He's the one that talks shit like that. That you think have all the answers. In 4 years, he didn't change shit. Why? Because the problem is a lot more complicated than that.
More or less believe the monster or the machine that's pushing those women to help them to become an enemy to us. And that's the reason why the women are so hell-bent and are so hesitant to support us. It's not because of just specifically us. It's because they know that there's more things that go in play. If you ever sit down and talk to these sisterhood chicks, do you know how many of these women are backed
before
by
you go to the sisterhood though, because let's try to keep it with among us, because we can't really go into speculate about what they're doing to that degree.
Well, I'm not speculating. I've had actual
15
conversations.
We have 15 minutes, guys. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, I've had
but
actual
we know- we know-
conversations.
we know as men what the issue is. So again, the issue becomes, again, are we going to throw away our pro-black hat for the sake of being pro-black man? That again, that becomes the question. So I didn't hear anyone answer that. I've heard.
Well,
But I don't think it's the
I'll
either or
respond to
conversation.
that, because what happens is, Ian, is that a lot of men are born, or not necessarily born, but they're raised to be pro-black men and women, particularly pro-black women. I mean, look at the woman here. Look at Skeletor and how she raised her son, or how she's in the process of raising her son. He is raised in order to be a benefit to Black women. And if you have a bunch of men who say, oh no, don't say nothing, be silent, which is, ridiculous, don't say nothing, then he will just default to his upbringing and he will go down this path that benefits primarily Black women. And then you try to get this particular boy who was raised by this particular type of woman to ever try to vote in a system that benefits Black men is ridiculous. He's not going to vote away child support because his mother told him that women need child support because men are deadbeats. So, like to be silent. First of all, the silent majority isn't silent. What do you think a MAGA hat is? Like, what do you think Trump rallies are? What do you think the Tea Party was? So the silent majority is not silent, to be clear, but they are a majority and they were able to, in this one instance, get the votes to their favor.
But
Exactly.
I'll tell you why
what's
I say
ironic?
silent majority, right? Because "Make America Great" does not explicitly say white supremacy.
Now that's ridiculous. His counter arguments are Make America Great doesn't necessarily say white supremacy. Do anybody here say black male supremacy or something like that? It's ridiculous.
Right?
No, it doesn't.
Hold on, because what it says is America. Who doesn't like America? Let's make America great, right? So when I say defund baby mama culture, right, it's not saying take money from black women, right? It's not saying get black women back on one accord under male leadership. No, it's saying defund a culture that is self-destructive, right?
No, we get that, but you have to say it. Like the whole thing is you're advocating for silence. The brother with the chess pieces, one wise, smart, and I believe handsome brother. I believe that he is kicking wisdom right now. And you're really advocating for suffering and silence. But I mean, the thing is, you have to say it. You have to say it to as many people as possible, sir. And when somebody says and voices their concerns and you call it complaining, you diminish it and you basically attempt to silence those people from spreading an ideology that would be better for the men.
So let me apologize because I see that Trump bonded comment got a lot of people triggered. So let me roll it back. Right, it's not that. What I'm saying is that we've had enough of these Twitter spaces and these IG lives, and we know what the problems are. Like, we're not dumb. We know what the problems are in our community, and we know how to fix it. And what I would like to see going,
we know what the problems are. Go to like any black feminist event and see if there are more men than women. Like, he just admitted that there was an overabundance of simps amongst black men. But we know what the problem is. I'm telling you, it's that mentality. Once you get to the third grade, or once you get to the fourth grade, you got to burn the third grade. Well, we know how to multiply. This is for those who don't.
forward is that if every time we have these conversations about what's wrong with black men and women, right, it ends in an actual solution, a thing that we can do going forward to change it, a tangible thing, right?
Which congressman have you spoken to?
In order to do the real tangible things that you need.
Right quick, okay. Which congressman have you spoken to?
I'm actually in talks right now with Ron DeSantis about getting something.
Okay, and he's in the process of changing this?
God.
Yeah.
So,
this is real shit. Yeah, this is.
I'm in the process of conversations with Ron DeSantis. You know, like they get together and play golf, and you know, he's not engaged in a circular argument with him. I would like for him to just tell him to just shut up.
This is not
okay. So, you know, what's your proposal to him? I'm curious.
Say again.
What's your proposal?
We got 10 minutes, guys. 10 minutes.
So my proposal to him was that because he's running for president right now. So my proposal to him was on a public platform to roll back government programs, right? And then we as black people will get on board with those programs. Because the thing is that we always
no, they won't. Because they're not galvanized. So he's talking about a Republican senator from Florida, right? And he's speaking for black people that he haven't spoken to because he don't believe in circular arguments. First of all, it's only an argument if somebody's arguing against you. But he don't believe in circular arguments, but yet he's going to turn the black people of the world to this Republican senator from Florida. Get out of here. Listen to this again. See, and this is what you sound like when you try to act before you are in proper footing. He's speaking for all black people. Now, all of a sudden.
What's your proposal?
We got
to
10
him?
minutes, guys. 10 minutes.
So
Oh,
my proposal
Okay.
to him was that because he's running for president right now. So my proposal to him was on a public platform to roll back government programs, right? And then we as Black people will get on board with those programs, because the thing is that we always.
Yes, Governor, I have convinced Black people collectively to not be for welfare. Even though I don't really speak to them, and others who do, I tell them to shut up. But yeah, I think that if you attempt to roll welfare back, yeah, Black people will support you because we don't like it anymore. I'm putting the cart before the horse. I am basically speaking for all of the Black people that are subscribed to me right now. Yeah, no.
Preach like these programs are necessary for the survival of Black people, but we have to get off of that. These programs are literally existing at the detriment of Black people.
Okay, so why don't you tell them that? Or why don't you shut the fuck up why don't you shut the fuck up and not tell the people who are telling Black people that to shut the fuck up? We are telling Black people that these are to their detriment, and you call it circular argument or trauma bonding. First of all, trauma is something like a traumatic experience that happened to you, but this is really more of a discussion of the socioeconomic state and how it's affecting Black families. I mean, it can be trauma bonding if you were raised by a single mother or some crap like that. But here we go.
Right. So when a politician comes up and says, "Hey, I'm going to reform welfare," because Clinton did it in '92, and you know what we did? We called Clinton a traitor. Right. We looked at him rolling back welfare as he's hurting our community. Right. So we need to get off of that.
Well, okay, but how do we get others to get off of that silently? I'm curious.
No. What I'm saying is,
yeah. See, he don't have an answer for that. He don't. So he's changing. He's he's dodging. Spin move. Like, we have to get off of that. Well, we're obviously still on it, but how are we going to get off of it silently?
Is that we know what time it is. We don't have to support it.
Like, no. I'm talking about the silent aspect. Like, so we agree that in 1992, before the internet and before the Manosphere and people had these conversations, these circular arguments, as you called them, men were unaware that welfare was doing more harm than good. You're saying that now that we have a voice, we should silence that voice and put the mindset of Black men back to where it was in 1992, correct?
No, what I'm saying to you is that we know that there is a demographic of Black women who are going to openly push back against that, right? They're going to tell you that you hate your mama, that you love white.
So now his justification for silence is because you're going to get pushback. Now, he began this whole argument with, we're the strong leaders. Now he's afraid of pushback from women. Just saying. And not only is he afraid, he also wants to push that fear upon us.
White women that you're gay, we know they're going to use all these type of shaming tactics. The same thing we do to white people whenever they do things and we call them racist and all the other stuff, right? So we can have these things and not openly support them, not put a bumper sticker on our car, not necessarily put it as a tagline on our social media pages, right? We can support these things by having these conversations.
Yeah, because taglines and stuff like that, they don't help. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. Hashtag Make America Great Again. basically any political or social movement out there. That don't help. Catchphrases don't help. That don't boost anything, right?
Amongst like-minded people, right? But without vocalizing it amongst people who we know are going to violently push back against it.
Now he's doing this whole straw man thing with the Manosphere. But I'm about to counter that. So take a listen to the handsome chess piece, brother. Is anybody here violently pushing back against it?
No.
So right quick, B-Law. In the Manosphere is conversations between like-minded black men and in Chantelle's case, black women. Why are you comparing that to talking to disagreeable women? I don't get that.
No, what I'm saying is so again, we can have these conversations in the Manosphere, right, all day long. But what I want these conversations to do, because I'm a part of these conversations, I hear them pretty often, right? It's just literally ranting about what black women are doing wrong, right? Instead of at the end of those conversations, so we can do all the things the same, right? Rant, and then at the end of the conversation, this is why we need to contact our Congress at the going these pages, right?
Okay.
We can support these things by having these conversations amongst like-minded people.
So this is his argument now, right? His argument now is to have the conversation amongst like-minded people. I want y'all to see the spin move. I want y'all to see the exact moment he pivots and twists. So right now, the conversation is we shouldn't be having this conversation amongst violently disagreeable people. That's his argument right now. Watch for the spin.
Right, but without vocalizing it amongst people who we know are going to violently push back against it.
That's his argument. That's his argument. Is anybody here violently pushing back against it?
No.
Right quick, B-Law. In the Manosphere is conversations between like-minded black men and in Chantelle's case, black women. Why are you comparing that to talking to disagreeable women? I don't get that.
No, what I'm saying is so again, we can have these conversations in the Manosphere, right, all day long. But what I want these conversations to do, because I'm a part of these conversations, I hear them pretty often, right? It's just literally ranting about what black women are doing wrong.
Wait a minute. I thought before the problem was that we were having conversations to the enemy, to people who are violently against us. And then when I asked you to elaborate on that, you spin move into, oh yeah, no, I just wanted to add solutions. Now listen to this.
Right? Instead of at the end of those conversations, so we can do all the things the same, right? Rant, and then at the end of the conversation, this is why we need to contact our congressmen and our.
So now the conversation that he said we should be silent on, he's now saying we should have that conversation that he was saying be silent about, and then some. You see the full of shiticity that's going on here? You see the level of shit that is being full of that's going on here. This whole argument was, y'all should be silent. Y'all should be cool. Y'all should be silent. Y'all should be cool. Stoic. Silent. Stoic. Well, no, y'all need to be loud, but when you're loud, you need to say this too. You need to say, contact your congressman. Okay. That's one of the many solutions that people have come to after we stated the problem.
Our state representatives and get them to repeal this law XYZ.
And you know, and let
Right.
me add this. Let me add this before you respond to that. Let me add this. Part of what's happening here, right? So we know the Travis Rudolph situation just happened, right? Here's
Yep.
what you have to understand about these conversations, right?
Okay, I think that's it.
Because we're having these conversations.
No disrespect to the brother, but I think that's it. All right. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna read some comments and then I'm going from this because yeah, 2.5. That's a good place to end. The globalist government rewards women for being debased. It does not offer help or reward to women that abide by their husbands. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, because you gain more votes that way. I mean, so what's going on is that America's tagline is freedom. It is freedom, and freedom is the ability to do what you want unchecked. That's many people's definition of the word freedom. And anything outside of that will seem un-American. So they can't really sell the whole concept of, anything that seems remotely like subjugation to the population. But hey, I mean, and I'm not saying don't write your congressman. I'm just saying don't come up here like I got all the answers because I write congressmen. Nobody does that. Like, I mean, nobody does that successfully. And I not check it. Passport bros can, well, I have the solution. We do this. It's like, okay, there's many other solutions for many people's individual situations. Not everybody works from home. Not everybody can be an expat. Some people are in child support. I state the problem. It's up to the individual to come with the solution that best suits them. For some people, it is passport bros. For some people, it is going the political route. For some people, it is MGTOW. For some people, it is all of the above. For some people, it's just raising their standards a little bit. For some people, it's getting certain aspects of their life together, to compete in a more competitive market. Everybody has their own individual solutions. Stating the problem and allowing those to come with their own individual solutions is an okay thing to do. And only a jackass would sit around and wait for solutions. It means that you cannot come up with your own solution. Like if a hurricane comes, a hurricane, you in Florida and a hurricane happens, it's like, hey, a hurricane is coming to town. And then, somebody says, oh, well, why are you announcing that? Why are you talking about the problem? You need to talk about solutions. It's a hurricane. Your solution is your own, sir. I could say get in the basement, but you might not have a basement. I could say go to the community fallout. I don't know. We don't have hurricanes here. But I could say go to the community such and such and such and such, but you might not have one of those. A hurricane is coming. Take action. Dumbass. I hate to see brothers like this at war. Somebody yells, grenade! And then you say, well, we should be discussing solutions. And that's when you get blown up. That's when you get blown up. Instead of just telling me that there's a grenade there, we need to talk about what we do about this grenade. Nigga, okay. That's when you just know to step away. That's when you just know to step away. somebody yells, truck! Because there's a truck about to run into you. You're like, okay, so what should I do about it? Okay, that's you. That's you. But the solution is multifaceted. You know, it's highly polarized because the problem is highly polarized. It's not just one problem. It's an umbrella of problems. It's a mindset that affects our people, that affects various different aspects of what we do, meaning that there's a number of solutions. And because every circumstance is unique, the approach is unique. Collectively, I think that Black men need to raise their standards and raise awareness of how you deal with this new type of woman. But in order to do that and understand it, you have to understand the type of woman. Do I say that Black men should stop messing with fat ass bitches? No. Because there exists Black men who not only like fat women, but they're fat themselves. I would definitely recommend to someone who works out, who's in the gym every day. You know, I would say that you're settling, and that's because you're being taught to settle. Anyway, I've been too long on this. I got 3 minutes before 2.5 hours, so I'm going to end this right now. Before I do that, I want to thank the Cash Apps and Super Chats, managers and moderators, those who are listening silently, silently, and those who are participating in the chat. I want you to hit that like button on your way out. And this is GameChanger 00100. Game over. Peace.